BeTheTalk, episode 159, featuring Willem Philipsen. Welcome to BeTheTalk. We go behind the talk 7 days a week for tips and techniques to help you change the world. I'm Nathan Eckel, and a talker myself. I'm interviewing others who change the world with their talk. You can too, even if you've never given a talk before. Let's get started with today's show. We are live with Willem Philipsen. Willem, are you ready to talk?
I'm ready to talk, Nathan. I'm here.
Willem Philipsen started out as a professional session guitar player for several well-known Dutch bands and artists. However, he had to reinvent himself after he became partially paralyzed due to a stroke. Philipsen, now a composer and producer, also returned to the stage as a motivational speaker at TEDx Rotterdam, as a matter of fact. Willem, welcome to the talk.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Your talk is called How My Broken Brain Made Me Reconnect to Life. Again, it was at TEDx Rotterdam. I love how you walk out on the stage with your cane, and you said, my right hand is like, let's party, but my left hand is like, let's do Netflix and chill tonight. And take us just behind the talk.
Yeah. Well, actually, the thing is that I got to hear that I had to do a TEDx talk only 3 weeks in advance, so I had to come up with something really fast. So I didn't get to put in my 50 hours, actually.
Well, it's all good. And I love about your talk, it's really, this is the kind of talk, I don't know that you can really prepare for this kind of a talk, because this is something that you came through. It's a talk about what happened to you, the aftermath of it, what inspired you to really literally come back to life. I mean, you were technically alive, but to really live again. And what I love about your talk is you actually show us, the brain science behind what's going on or not going on, or what's going on that shouldn't really be going on. Yeah. In your brain. You actually show us brain scans of your brain where those parts of your brain, if I remember correctly, are removed, and yet there's activity being shown on those brain scans. So I'm getting really, really excited. I'm hijacking the interview. Please just tell us about some of those things so that everybody knows what I'm talking about before they see it for themselves.
Okay. So, sorry. Yeah. Just getting off topic.
Yeah, no problem at all. No, I'm just digging in because I watched that talk, and this is really fascinating stuff that I've actually never seen before.
So yeah, like my talk starts out with a short clip of me on stage as a guitar player, as I used to be, and then it goes to complete stop, because that is actually what happened in my life. When I had a stroke at 23, which is pretty young to have a stroke, actually. But so my life kind of ended right there and then. I became paralyzed on the left side of my body, which is kind of heavy.
At 23.
At 23.
At 23, you've got this amazing career. You're touring with the band. You're living the life. Yeah. And it's not just your left arm, but it's also your left leg.
Yeah, it's like totally split in half. Like the whole left side of my body was totally paralyzed. And then you have to relearn everything. You have to relearn getting dressed in the morning, making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, whatever. You name it, you have to relearn it. And but what I realized was I need to find a new purpose in life for myself, because I couldn't make music the way I was used to. And for me, that was I really found that in sports, because sports also help you to get back more connections in the brain and to get healthier. And
you mentioned swimming, I believe.
Yeah.
So you
swimming.
You basically said I needed to figure out something to do so that you wouldn't gain, too much weight as you normally, would in that situation. And so you pick swimming. What was that like? What was it like getting back in the water? Was it, I mean, I would imagine it'd be frightening at first.
Yeah.
How did you cope with that?
Yeah, well, I started out in the rehab center. As a part of my therapy, we started out swimming. So it was really weird to have to relearn how to swim again, because it's a totally different stroke. Because normally you swim with two arms, and now I have to do it with one arm and one leg. So you have to learn how to not keep going in circles.
That was my question is, I mean, I'm putting it together. When you're paddling a boat from just the one side, you're going to go around and around in circles. So how do you actually not do that?
Yeah, well, it's a stroke which you can, you do it the other way around as you normally do. So normally with a breaststroke, you push the water away to the sides, and now you do it inward.
Okay.
So that makes for that you don't go in circles.
So the natural stroke direction and angle, you just reverse that, and then your foot's doing what feet do. And every other stroke, you're switching the direction of your hand or the curvature, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, actually, we started out with a normal breaststroke, and then me and my buddy, because I swim with a buddy, we do it together, and then we evolved to doing the crawl. I don't know how you call it, but when you do this.
Freestyle, I guess. That looks like a freestyle. I'm trying to look at your stroke here on the video, so that looks like a freestyle to me.
Okay.
So you're alternating directions and strokes so that you're not going around in circles, basically.
Yeah. And actually, we have a river in the city here, and we were invited to join. It's an open water swim, actually. So that was kind of weird for me to experience for the first time, to go into open water and swim again, because open water is really cold.
I would imagine. So how do you do that? I mean, this is amazing because I mean, there's a story in that, not just getting back in the water, not just selecting swimming, but then, as you mentioned in your talk, that one day you woke up and you wanted to do this open swim of 3 kilometers. And you trained. Sorry, Talk Universe. I'm giving you kind of the compressed version here, but 18 months you successfully did that swim after training for 18 months.
Yeah, we trained for 18 months, 3 times a week, and we even struck up a deal with the swimming pool manager who would let us swim for 2 hours in our own lane. So that was awesome.
Wow. So you're training. I've got to ask you this, Willem. I mean, thinking of where you were and how daunting and overwhelming and frightening, just getting your toe back in the water or being lowered into the water or whatever, how frightening and how difficult. And then fast forward to, I don't know if it was 2 years later or 2.5 or 3 years later, but you conquered this dream that literally brought you back to life, because you mentioned in the talk that you're questioning the value of life, your situation, and you became, you transcended. You had a transformational experience, not just getting in the water. I mean, that would have been transformational enough, but then you achieved this goal of the 3-kilometer swim. Can you describe to us what it felt like to have gotten out of the river along with everybody else, or after everybody else, after conquering this swim, and what was that moment like for you? Yeah,
well, that was awesome. That was one of the most amazing moments in my life, because actually we finished last, of course. And all the other swimmers that were already at the finish line jumped back into the water to greet us. And they were like, this is awesome. This guy, because I was the first one to do it. Or actually first handy capable to do it. And that was amazing. It was like, and I've never felt happier.
Well, and it sounds like it was transformational, not just for you, Willem, but for all of them. And I didn't even think of that. So they jumped back in the water, they swam with you, and you all finished together.
Yeah, that's true. And that was like, it made me realize that, with doing these kinds of events, I could change the way people are thinking about actually the perspective on people with a handicap.
Well, I think you did. and I love that word, handy-capable. That's that's the first I've heard that. Why not use that? Why not use that? Because I mean, it sounds almost patronizing in terms of overusing this, but I mean, it is inspiring. And the stuff that you talked about in your talk is the stuff that no matter, we could be marathon runners and totally abled in all the traditional ways, yet the statistics say that a huge proportion of us are dealing with mental issues, depression, clinical stuff, diagnosed or not diagnosed, and disorders. It's almost like the disorder has become the norm in our high-paced world. So when you finished that 3-kilometer swim and your spirit infected everybody else, and it really became about all of you in that swim, not even about your story, it became everybody's story, and you allowed other people to share that triumph with you. I mean, it's amazing to me to try to get my mind around that. Anything else you'd like to say about that?
Well, actually, after the 3K, we got it into our minds that you're only as good as your last accomplishment, right? Like in showbiz and in sports, that's kind of true. And so we took it upon ourselves to go even further, and we found this event in Spain, in Navia. It's a really small mountain village in the north of Spain. And they have like a big ass river. It's really huge. And almost 60 years now, they have got this competition where almost people from all over the world go there to fight the river, by swimming in it. And so we were like, we got to do this. And we wound up doing the 5K swim in Spain.
5K. So you pretty much doubled the length of what you did in the river in Amsterdam. Rotterdam, excuse me. See, there I went. That's the American doesn't know his geography here. Hey, we've been enjoying this conversation with Willem Philipsen. He gave a TEDx Rotterdam talk, How My Broken Brain Made Me Reconnect to Life. We're summarizing all that. You've got to see it yourself. I'll let you know in just a few minutes. But right now, we'll be right back in a moment with the Blitz Round. People ask, how could I start a 7-day-a-week podcast? It's because of what I've learned from my mentors. Some of the best mentors in history aren't around anymore. They've left hours of one-on-one mentoring behind in their books. Each month at Classics on Tap, I record a new chapter from a classic business book to help you make a difference. Download your first chapter at classicsontap.com. And we're back with Willem Philipsen. It is time for the Blitz Round, where I ask Willem a series of either-or questions related to the preparation and the performance of his TEDx Rotterdam talk. Willem, are you ready?
Ready.
All right. And given what he said already, you had a whopping 21 days to prepare for this. So we're going to keep that in mind. Most people have more time than that to prepare. And I think based on that, I think I know the answer to the first question, and so does Talk Universe. Were you selected to speak or did you apply?
I was selected.
Obviously. And you're going to give this talk and you have 3 weeks to do it. Willem, are you a memorizer, an improviser, or a blender?
I'm a bit of a blender, because I memorize a lot, but I improvise jokes.
Okay. Did you have, for this talk, did you have nerves, or were you in the zone, or neither, or both?
Both. I was in the zone, but I was also a bit nervous because, it's a TEDx is like forever. Like out there.
Well, it can be if you don't know what you're doing. It's a long time up on that carpet.
Yeah.
So, Willem, what's a tip, a technique, or a tool that helped you?
Well, yeah. For me, what helped me was to have my opening totally in there and my ending. To just have that on lockdown to really rip it up,
Yeah, well, bookending it is definitely the way to go, for sure. And especially if you have, if they select you to speak and tell you only have 3 weeks, that's where to start. Get the start and get the ending down, and then work your way into the middle from there. So it is a performance, Willem. What's the most unexpected, strange, or just plain weird thing that happened during or right before your talk?
Actually, the remote clicker of the slides wasn't working properly. Just before the speaker before me was having trouble with it, and it was like, damn.
Yeah, well, the curse of the clicker. That's not the first time. That's not the 10th time that I've heard people say that. We've been enjoying this talk with Willem Philipsen. That was the Blitz round, and I want to let you know where you can go to see this talk. It's absolutely amazing. It's called How My Broken Brain Made Me Reconnect to Life, TEDx Rotterdam. You can go to our show notes page at BeTheTalk.com, and you can also find out more about Willem at his website, which is novocainemusic.com, correct? novocainemusic.com, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes. In just a minute, we'll be back with Willem with the 15-second final word of advice. Everyone wants to change the world, but not everyone knows the first step. Before you can change the world with your talk, it has to be selected. So grab the templates, timelines, and tools that I use to get my talk selected at BeTheTalk.com. And we're back with Willem Philipsen. It is time for the final word of advice for Talk Universe.
Okay, so my advice is actually have a good opening joke. Always start with a good opening joke or thing, just to have the audience relax and, be at ease with you.
Willem Philipsen, thanks so much for inspiring us and really being a transformational agent for everybody listening to this and sharing your wisdom today with Talk Universe.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Be The Talk. For tips and resources to help you change the world, go to BeTheTalk.com. See you tomorrow.